A moth. That probably means change and growth.
No, that would be a butterfly.
So what's a moth?
Death. If you believe in that shit.
Now that we know what we're dealing with, we can come up with a plan.
Let's just do what we came to do. We have automatic weapons.
You lunatics have bows and arrows and superstition. So tell me, how are we going to lose?
Get on the ground!
No!
Every day, one of your wolves comes to see the truth.
I'll go back if you want, and I'll keep going if you want. So what do you want to do?
Jackson, come in. Jackson!
What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television. I thank all of you for stopping by, liking, commenting, all of that beautiful YouTube stuff. The march to our next goal of 500 subscribers continues. Only together can we go straight to the moon, baby. Today, though, we're going to be going over The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2, entitled Through the Valley. Now, if you have yet to watch this episode or unfamiliar with the lore of around this IP, just be aware there's spoilers ahead. This particular episode does bring a controversial decision made by the game producers of The Last of Us. In the game, around this time of the story, Abbey and her little crew wind up coming across Joel, who they were looking for, and killed him. In the game, it happened slightly differently with who was with him and who wasn't with him. But in an overall sense, the importance of what happened is what happened. We wake up with Ellie getting ready to go on patrol. And she makes a point as she's talking with her patrol partner there, Dina's ex-boyfriend, who he confronted about Dina kissing her and stuff. And I was going to say Abby, but Elle was trying to blow it off that she was drunk and high and stuff like that. But she certainly enjoyed the kiss that episode. And she got so annoyed that she was going to go look for Joel to go on patrol. Now, you would think that with their little tension there, that she wouldn't be looking for him. That's how aggravated she's getting. And not for nothing, she explains that even though I'm pissed at Joel for certain things, I still look at him as basically like a father figure. He did help her through a lot of stuff. And if it wasn't for him, whether you agree with his actions or not, she wouldn't be alive today. And she acknowledges that. But at this point, we have to assume she knows something about what happened at the end of season 1 for her to be so pissed off. She has to walk around possibly with this guilt, and eventually with this guilt of knowing that she is immune to the clickers and all that, the stalkers, depending on the stage of infection, that that everyone else can be saved because of her, but she's walking around as everyone else is dying. That can mess with you as a person for sure. I'm not taking away that rage and stuff that's inside of her for that. But I guess the best explanation from what I've been hearing is that she's a 19-year-old girl mad at her father. And I tell you, I helped raise my sister through her teenage years. And not that we have to get into any of our past or anything like that, but when anybody has that much anger and upsetness about their life, it's going to come out on those who they're closest with, because those are the ones that are there to take the brunt, to take the backlash, if you will. And that's what Joel is doing, but he's kind of getting a little tired of having to deal with it without necessarily a conversation to try to hash things out. And that's fine. We're going to touch a little bit on Abby's group here, the remaining Fireflies who are looking for Joel. The rest of her crew is not necessarily looking to continue to do this anymore, because when they finally get to Jackson, the man basically helping her and trying to console her and everything, he's realizing that the 5 or 6 of them that they isn't going to be able to overtake a whole compound, so to speak. They'll all wind up dying for the price of one person, even if they find him, right? Let's say they even get inside. How are they finding him specifically, and then thinking they can still get out of the situation? And maybe Abby's not really caring about this particular side effect of her plan, because she is so tunnel visioned, even after 5 years of getting to Joel. We even see a nightmare that she has, that a version of herself that knows what Joel did is telling a version of herself that doesn't know not to go through that door. And basically what the problem is, that one of the Fireflies that Joel kills, more specifically the doctor, was her father, was Abby's father. And that's why she's so tunnel vision on this revenge plot, so to speak. And we then pick up with Joel, and I'm going to explain how this comes about. Joel and Dina are also on patrol. All right. There's a storm that winds up coming. And what winds up going on is that Abby decides to get some air, and she notices Joel and Dina on patrol. No, I'm sorry. She initially sees Elle and her partner on patrol. But when Abby tries to find a way to sneak up on them and this and that, she winds up tumbling down this hill. Now, when she gets down this hill, she notices some of the infected down there, frozen. But it seems like this fungus, so to speak, is highly intelligent, seems to spread across the globe, and may even have some telepathic ability with those who it infects. Because it's, as soon as she falls into this kind of field of clickers that are frozen, some of them start moving, and then eventually those that were frozen beneath the surface start emerging by like the dozens, okay? And everywhere Abby starts running to, she seems to be triggering more and more of these, she seems to awaken more of these infected that are emerging from the frozen ground. Also, simultaneously at the same time in Jackson, as someone is working on one of the pipings and removing some of the blockage that's in that piping, we see live infected tendrils, if you will. I'm not sure if that's the technical name, but the little fingers of the fungus, if you will, notices that there's activity near it, and it directs the horde, part of the horde, to Jackson, Wyoming. Also at this point, Joel comes across Abby and saves her and brings her to Dina, and Dina is confused about where she came from. She was like, even like, where'd you come from? No time for conversation, though. They all decide to run back to Jackson. But as they get to this point, Joel notices that Jackson is on fire. Okay, and I'm going to get into that. But Abby convinces him to go to the cabin where her and her crew are at to gather supplies and her people to help to try to go help Joel. But as soon as we get back to the cabin, we realize that Joel realizes this is all set up to get him there. Not that she planned the horde and all that, but he realizes that once he gets there, she was looking specifically for him. And basically, she reveals her plan and that she was looking for him. They take Dina out with some sort of sleeping agent through a needle, and she passes out. Now, while at Jackson, this horde is going and running and is trying to overtake the compound. Tommy and some of the other people there are defending the front gate. They got these gas barrels and they're trying to light them on fire to explode. This scene was really well done in the general sense of like, this is what you have to do. Revert back to medieval times, so to speak, to defend your place. And so a bloater winds up breaking through on one of the sides. Everyone's in, and now Tommy's trying to get flamethrower on his back, and he winds up. The way he takes out this bloater is crazy. The bloater's trying to fight through the fire, and it's not until the last second where Tommy finally takes him out. They're able to take out most of the clickers, and then they release some of their dogs that start cleaning up and taking care of the rest. But Jackson, Wyoming, that place is demolished, and you can see Tommy and his wife just break down after everything is settled to once you take in the devastation. Your friends and family laying there suffering in agony or dead. If this type of lifestyle takes a toll on you, of course it does. And now it's up to them to figure out how to get through, how to clean up, and it's just going to be, this is going to be some long-lasting effects, I think, from this attack of the clickers. But we do pick up with Elle, and she's realizing that Joel and Dina are in trouble. She winds up following them. So she winds up tracking them down because she got to the point where you either go to Wyoming at the Jackson compound or up to the cabin, and she notices footprints going up there, and she makes her way up there to come across Abbey and her group, and Joel beaten to death, nearly to death, with a 9-iron, and Abbey is just on this vicious mode that she's just not like taking him out. And this is, in her mind, to me, this is not vengeance for her father. This is revenge. You know what I mean? This is her taking every ounce of negativity, every ounce of rage and anger about this onto Joel. And Ellie walks in on this, and she is bugging out. She's hysterical. And finally, the killing blow is the broken 9-iron shoved into Joel's head in front of Elle. And then they just pack up and leave, leaving Ellie there alive. But Joel is gone, and Ellie who did get her ass kicked a little bit by these people, crawls over to Joel and holds him. And it was that particular moment an emotional thing because here she was being so bratty, realizing that the relationship her and Joel had is now gone. And, man, and she at one point screamed at Abby, "I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you all," perpetuating that violence only brings violence. And at the end, we see Dina, who must have came to Elle and the third party, bring Joel's body wrapped up, dragging them back to Jackson. They wrapped them up in sheets, and as they're riding on the horse, you see Joel wrapped up, being dragged back home. And we see Abby and her crew going to Washington, I believe, to reconnect with the Washington Liberation Front, I believe it's called, Wolf. And we'll come across those people soon enough. But this season now seems to be Abby and what she's going through, and Elle and her revenge tour, so to speak. And we're going to see the fallout from all this because Tommy doesn't know yet. The people of Jackson don't know yet. Joel was so vital to everything going on in Jackson and vital to people and his personal relationships with them that this is going to be devastating for everyone around. And Elle, I know Bella Ramsey's acting isn't top notch. And she's working in Hollywood. I'm not, so what do I know, right? However, I feel like there's potential there for her emotional range to be spotlighted, but we'll see. A lot of people did not like this. A lot of people who were not familiar with the game or what was about to happen, there's a lot of negative reviews out there. Not just by people who are like, oh, like the YouTube complainers, regular people who enjoyed this first season now have been dropping off because of Joel dying and didn't know that that was going to happen. How's that going to affect season 2? Only time will tell. But I want you guys, with this particular episode, I will give this like an 8 because of the emotional impact and the fighting scenes with the horde and everything. It was a good episode. It was a solid episode. But a lot of people were gut punched by not expecting what was going to happen. Like I said, we'll only see if this affects season 2 negatively for the long term. That's what I got. Let me know down below what you guys got. But until next time, peace, Snookums.